You know those movies that people worry about because they start hearing that too many characters are being thrown in? This is one of those movies. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about X-Men: The Last Stand, the movie directed by Brett Ratner. That's right, not directed by Bryan Singer, and starring a whole cast of returning actors and actresses from the first two X-Men films, as well as many new ones, some of them that I don't think needed to really be there. But let's get talking about some of the good things, some of the bad things, as usual. Let's go. So, first of all, I'm going to say this. This is my least favorite X-Men movie. And with that being said, though, is it as bad as, like, some of the worst superhero movies that I think are out there? I mean, there's a whole lot of bad ones out there. But is this one that bad? I'm going to admit it, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's actually somewhere in the middle. It is my least favorite X-Men movie, but it is not the worst superhero movie of all time. There are some redeeming qualities, and I'm going to get into some of them. First of all, obviously the returning cast members, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Ian McKellen, as well as so many others are back, and, you know, they're great in their roles as usual. As a matter of fact, I actually really enjoy Halle Berry in this movie more than I have in the last two movies. I actually thought her character was used more effectively in this movie, and I actually thought the character was actually much more interesting, taking up that more leadership position, because Scott went, crazy. But the problem with this movie has nothing to do with how the actors are playing these parts. It's more to do with how some of them are sidelined. For an example, Cyclops, bringing him up, he's killed, like, very early on in the movie. Spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it, but I'm sure you have by now. And if you haven't, who knows if you're ever going to get there. But if you do, there you go. It's already spoiled. Yeah, so Cyclops is, like, killed off right in the beginning of the movie. And it's like, what the heck, man? Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men in the movies. And you kill him off just like that, just to make Wolverine the leader? And a lot of people will complain that Wolverine isn't leader material. And there is nothing in the first two movies that I saw him even interested in leading the X-Men team. As a matter of fact, I think even by the end, he still doesn't really want to lead the team, but it feels like he's being forced into that position. On top of all of that, we even get a whole bunch of new characters. I will say Kelsey Grammer is perfectly cast as Beast in this movie. And probably out of all the new characters, he's probably used the best. But characters like Angel, who, is a very popular character in the comics, played by Ben Foster here, who does a good job, but is very underutilized and hardly in the film. And it's like, you're left wondering by the end of the film, was there even a point of introducing any of these new characters, aside from Beast? Because it seems like all the other characters were just there for eye candy for the hardcore fans that know the comics inside and out. And I felt that a lot of them were really wasted. Even some of the older cast members, like Rogue has a little subplot going on, but her character doesn't really make a decision at the end, or at least not a clear decision at the end. It seems like she lost her powers, but now at the end they kind of hint that maybe they could return. So I don't know. This movie feels a little bit of a mess in all directions, and probably to do with the switch of directors. From when Bryan Singer left to go direct Superman Returns, Fox decided, they didn't want to wait for Bryan Singer. They even had a little bit of issues with him at the time. And he was replaced by Brett Ratner, the director of Rush Hour. That's right. So you get a director who probably didn't even give a crap about the material. I mean, it doesn't feel like this movie has a lot of heart and soul. Yeah, okay, we have Jean Grey, and Wolverine still has affections for her and wants to save her, and there is sort of a tragic ending there. But I feel the way the whole movie was executed felt a little bit rushed at times. There's some nice moments in the movie, but then there's moments that are pretty cringe-worthy, like cheesy-worthy. And But then at times it feels like they get it right too. Like I really like that scene where at the house when they go to find Jean Grey for the first time after she escapes the X-Men mansion, Professor Xavier tries to bring her back and he's killed there. And I thought it was a really well executed scene. It was a really good action piece also at the same time. The score was really good during that scene as well. And yeah, unfortunately, the rest of the way the movie is at times, it seems like, okay, this part seems cool, but then you get a part that like feels out of place or rushed or something. Like they didn't really care about giving that scene time to grow. Also, the score, I'm going to say I didn't like the score in this movie. I thought it felt very noisy, you know? It didn't feel, I don't want to say the word epic, but it didn't feel as grand as the second film. I wouldn't even say it's on par with the first film's score, which I liked a little bit better than this one. The way I look at it at the end of the day is that this movie really feels like it has no idea what this wants to be. It seems to have a good story there to tell, but it doesn't tell the story properly the way it should be. It feels like it's all over the place sometimes, and it wants to throw so much at you that it can't even fit all of it at once. In some ways, even the resolution of the story feels incomplete at times. And yeah, this was not the ending to the trilogy that I was looking forward to. But thankfully, because Bryan Singer is returning for X-Men Apocalypse, it feels like the X-Men First Class trilogy will actually be the first X-Men trilogy that will feel truly completed. And I can't wait to see that trilogy end. Basically, it's going to be the trilogy that we always wanted. Maybe even the trilogy that we deserve. So with all that being said, guys, I'm giving X-Men The Last Stand a 6 out of 10. Yeah, it wasn't the best, but I don't think it was horrible either. I think there are a lot of other superhero films, like I said earlier. For an example, Catwoman, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Supergirl, the first Hulk movie with Eric Bana, Elektra. I'd say a lot of those, even the first, all the Fantastic Four movies have not been as good as X-Men The Last Stand. I think X-Men The Last Stand had a lot of potential for being a better film, but I think because of the loss of Bryan Singer, I think it lost its way during the post-production phase, and maybe that's why the movie didn't live up to expectations. It's hard to, once you have a vision that the original director had, it's hard to find that same vision, and it seems like Fox just, I remember at the time when Bryan Singer left, you know, Fox rushed to look for somebody to replace him. I think they even had Matthew Vaughn at one point, who was supposed to direct X-Men The Last Stand, and even he dropped out after a while, maybe because he realized he didn't have a lot of time to make a decent story and without cramming all these characters in. And that's why they got Brett Ratner. They just said, hey, do this and shut up. And that's what he did. He got the paycheck. Hey, I did one of the best X-Men movies box office wise of all time. Hey, but you didn't do the best X-Men movie critically. So with that being said, guys, I'm ending it here. That was my review for X-Men The Last Stand. I hope you enjoyed it. And like this video if you haven't. Don't dislike it because I don't like that button. And no one does. And subscribe to my channel because I'm always doing movie reviews, especially when it comes to superheroes, as well as a few superhero TV shows such as Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. And once in a while, I might even talk about news that drops or even top 10 lists. Who knows? I'm doing a whole bunch of things that I'm trying out. And until next time, take care.